connect to audio, I think we'll get started. We've got Noor here now. Hi, Noor.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Noor.
Hi.
And then I can't tell.
I don't know who Huawei is.
Hello,
No,
everyone.
love. Hi, dear.
Who's Hawaii Y5 Light?
I don't know.
Infinity, I think it's Rita Base.
Okay, that could be one of them. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's Rita. But Huawei, I don't know who is.
Well, let's get started. Hopefully, a few more people will join too. But we've got a good group going, and so we've got some new faces to the group. Well, not new to us, but new to the session. So I'll go through and let's have everyone just say your name and where you're from and your GWIM, and then we'll get started. So, and I'm Jen. I think you all know me, but I'm not sure. Maybe not.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Let's start with Tilma.
Hi everyone, my name is
Hello.
Tilma. I'm from Jakarta, Indonesia, and from GWIM 60.
Woohoo! And Elizabeth.
Hi everyone, I'm Elizabeth. I'm from Papua New Guinea and I'm from GWIM 64.
Perfect. And Flo.
Hi ladies, I'm Florence. I'm from Port Moresby, GWIM 53.
GWIM 53. And Amelia.
Hi, hello. I'm Emilia from Jakarta, GWIM 67.
Woohoo! And Donna.
Yeah.
Hi, hello, I'm
Diana.
Dana. I'm originally from Romania. Now I live in the USA, and I'm from GWIM 60, the same like Tilma and Carolina.
Yay! Reunited and it feels so good. Okay, Joanne.
Hi, everybody. My name is Joanne Kungsin. I'm Ghanaian, and I was in GWIM 67.
Great, thank you. And Dulce?
I was in GWIM 61.
Great. And Tia?
My name is Tia. I'm from Indonesia, currently in Central Sulawesi, from GWIM 66. Yeah.
Hi, Tia. Let's see, Tobin?
Hi, everyone. I'm Tobin from Nigeria, GWIM 42.
Great, thank you. And Uem? Oh, hold on, I'm sorry. Uem, you're muted. Go ahead, try again.
I'm Uwe from Nigeria, GWIM 68.
Perfect, thank you. And Carolina?
Hello, I'm Carolina. I'm from Colombia, GWIM 60.
Great. Noor?
Hi, I'm Noor from Jakarta, Indonesia, GWIM 54.
I'm seeing
Noor.
Welcome, Noor. Ardiana?
Yeah, hello, everybody. My name is Ardiana from Indonesia, GWIM 64.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, this is Rita.
Hi, Rita. Tell us where you're
From
coming in from.
Nigeria, GWIM 55.
Perfect. Welcome.
Yeah.
Nin?
Hi, I'm Nindya from Indonesia. I'm GWIM 66.
Great. Caro? Oh, hold on a second. You're muted.
I am Carola from Mexico, GWIM 43.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And let's see, who is
Dulce.
Oh, Dulce. People have moved around. Oh, we got Dulce before.
Yes, I.
Yeah. Who's Hawaii Wi-Fi Lite. We can't see you if you're on your phone without video. Who would that be? I don't know. Okay. And who else did I miss? Is that everybody? I think somebody's frozen and topless. Who's that? Infinix Hot 8.
That's Rita.
That's Rita. Okay. All right, so I think I got everybody on the screen, and a little shout out to, you all know Ketty, of course. And you know, I think most of you have met Noor at this point. And then of course, you know Sue. Okay, so just a reminder, I've muted all of you. If you have something you want to share or say, you can either raise your hand, you can write in the chat, or you can raise your hand in the chat, or you can unmute yourself as well. But just to keep the background noise down, we've just muted everybody to make it easier. So we'll start with the case and then and open it up for questions and recommendations, and then we'll move on to the didactic at the end. So Sue's going to present the case for us, and I'm going to share the screen so you can read along if that's easier for you. Is that the right thing up? You'll see the right thing?
Yes. Perfect, Jen. Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Greetings, ladies. Always wonderful to see old faces and new faces joining. Spread the word, the more the merrier. This case is related to an NGO leader and the challenges she's facing, balancing her role as a leader and as a manager. So the key question is, how do I lead in a period of constant change and rapid change? And as a leader, when is it appropriate for me to be more of a manager and take over those responsibilities? She said that over the past several years, she's really felt like she's been able to move into a purely leadership role, representing externally, doing fundraising, and focusing on strategic planning, and moving less and less away from the day-to-day management, relying more on her staff and her team. But now she's concerned about her staff's ability to manage because of the pressures they're feeling and the demands on their time. And she's finding herself taking on more and more of management duties than she would like to, and then that she has taken in the past. She doesn't want to micromanage her team, but she also wants to make sure things are getting done and decisions are being made. But she also wants to be sure she's playing the role of a strategic leader during this essential time. Her stakeholders are obviously the executives and managers of her organization and her staff, and of course, always the beneficiaries. She doesn't have time to invest in building staff capacity. She needs her team to be able to move quickly and take actions and make decisions on their own. She also is cognizant of the fact that she doesn't want to lose people. When this is over, she wants this team to come back so that they can rebuild and implement new activities. So she wants to make them feel connected so they stay. And her vision for when all of this is over is that she has her original high-functioning team that is able to be as responsive to the beneficiaries in a crisis as well as during a time of stability. So essentially building that resilience in her organization. She's finding herself having to step more and more into daily management roles as opposed to earlier. So those are kind of the challenges she's facing, and she's looking for maybe some stories and advice at some point on how other leaders are handling that. If this is something other people are facing, it's always good to know we're not alone. And eventually some recommendations for how she can make this balance work better. Thanks, Jen.
Let me unmute myself. Okay, thank you, Sue. Okay, so let's start with any questions that you have to get more information from Sue, anything to clarify. Again, the big kind of question is, when is it appropriate to step in as a manager in times of crisis, and how to lead, how to balance that leadership and management question in a time of crisis. So any clarifying questions before we move to recommendations?
Me, Ardiana.
Ardiana, okay, go ahead.
Is the employee is paid monthly, or during the COVID, the pay is not constantly as before?
Great question. So is the pay monthly? Is the pay the same as during COVID as it was before?
It's not the same as it was before. I'm trying to stretch the small income that we continue to have and the reserves that we have in the bank. So I've reduced everyone's salary with the goal of getting some money to everyone for as long as possible. I don't know if that will be able to continue if this goes on for many more months, but right now everyone is getting enough to hopefully buy some food and take care of the basic needs of their family.
So they can still survive for a while?
Exactly.
Okay.
Good question. Thanks, Ardiana. Other questions? Sue, I have a question.
Yes, Jen.
In the case, it says that, normally they're high functioning. So thinking back to situational leadership, let's say, do you have a sense of how much of this is capacity and how much of it is just the stress of the situation and people trying to balance their own family issues and things like that? Do you have a sense of that?
I have a little bit of sense of that. I think most of it, I would say maybe 80%, is just dealing with the immediate personal needs and the stress of living in communities with the virus is present. But I also don't think that we were properly prepared for how to bounce back and how to be more resilient in the face of a crisis. We live in a community in a country where we are not faced typically with natural disasters. So we don't have those kinds of plans in place. So this took us by surprise. It's certainly something we'll learn from and do work on when we all come back together, is making sure we have those contingency plans in place and we know what roles everyone takes when an emergency hits. But so I would say 20% of it is capacity in the sense of operating in an emergency situation.
Okay, thanks. Other questions? I can also scroll this down if anyone needs. What if I make it a little bit smaller? Is that too small, Sue?
Not for me.
Okay, then when people can see the whole.
Yeah. Oh, Taye joined also.
Oh, for some reason we're
Can you
getting
mute
call
Taye?
signal.
I'm muting. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, other questions? If not, I can open it up to recommendations or thoughts, and then other questions may arise as we go through those. So what recommendations do you all have, or thoughts that you have about the situation of balancing the management piece and the leadership?
Tia says, what type of nonprofit is it?
Oh yeah, I was about to respond to that.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Nora.
It's women-focused nonprofit. We do a lot of work to prepare women for the workforce, also to help them find employment, and then we also run some vocational training programs for younger women to help them prepare for employment as well. So we really have our activities are really based on people coming together to learn skills and participate in training. We've moved some of that to virtual, but because most of our women don't have technology, that's really cut back a lot.
Okay, good question.
I'm curious, I'd like to put a question out to the group, since all of you run your own organizations, and ask if this is something others are facing, trying to find this balance, and what, if any, solutions you found for your situation.
It's a quiet group.
Elizabeth has her.
Okay, we'll go with Elizabeth and then Tia. First, let me do Elizabeth and then Tia.
All right. Well, I'm no longer I'm with the Advancing PNG Women Leaders Network, but I still have that contact and communication with Buklong Kikinini, which I used to work with before. And I've been communicating a lot with the founder of the organization, the challenges they're facing right now. 2 days ago, she spoke to me and told me that what she's facing, like if this COVID-19 continues for the next 1 or 2 months or so, they will have to lay off staff. And it's very challenging because they depend a lot on sponsors. And right now, a lot of the sponsors, businesses are having problems themselves, and they're starting to let go of staff as well due to the situation. Yeah. So financial situation that it's created. I mean, no one was expecting COVID-19 to hit the nations. It's a little virus is taking over the nations, and it's affecting a lot of the big companies as well as the smaller ones, MSMEs as well. But for the NGOs especially, who depend a lot on the funding, if you don't have a backup plan, where do you fall to get the staff, to work if this continues on? So that's one of the biggest challenges facing, and she shares a lot of what she's going through with me, to have those listening ears to hear what she has there. So I believe, that's.
Looking out for the current moment, they have enough funding to keep people on board, but if this lasts 2 to 3 months, then she won't be able to keep everyone employed.
Yeah, they'll have to let go of some of the librarian staff who, librarian staff, teacher librarians are very important because they are the ones who run the libraries in the communities for the vulnerable children, for the children in the vulnerable communities. And if the staff are not at work, then the libraries close up, the children will suffer. They become
So Elizabeth, the organization that Elizabeth is referring to is a book collection and promote literacy and things like that in the schools. So if the schools aren't open and the librarians aren't able to work, then you can't achieve the mission, right? It's
exactly.
And as you said, the funding from your usual donors or their usual donors is probably getting put towards more COVID response things and not the literacy programming the way it was before.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. Anyone raise your hand if you foresee a similar challenge in your organization, that if this lasts, there's a problem. You might need to let people go. Few of you. Okay.
Maybe if I can add.
Sure, Tia, go ahead.
Yeah. So, well, at the beginning, of course, it's hard because my NGO is mostly doing research and also technical assistance to the villagers for capacity building for their organization, how to run community-based business like kind of thing. So what we before it's easy if we want to organize the meeting or organize training in the community level, but now it seems that since it's hard, then we're trying to assist them using we're trying to get them using Zoom, just the same like this, and try to install them. Like we send one of the our staff to get there and how to organize those with the cell phone and so on, just to get easy. And another issue related to the management. Well, of course, before the COVID-19, we have like planning for the next week. We have like a mind map sort of things that they need to do, and the target when, and like a semi dashboard. So it's easy for me to like to know what are their activity. And we every Monday morning very early at 8, so it's the time that we should start to work, supposed to work at the office. So I made a meeting every 8 o'clock every day, just to make them get on track, and to let them know that I'm there for them. And then I try to call them one by one, like, is there any difficulties? And there are some, because we're like 80 until 90% women. So they are, so the working time, one to another, are different. There are some women that some of the employees work from 8 to 12, and then at night, 6 to 12 again. So the 6 to 11 p.m. because she needs to manage her time with the husband to take care of the kids. So for me and my managers are quite flexible. So we're trying to, understand between one to another. So we're trying to get the meeting according to the available time. So more or less like that.
Yeah, so I'm hearing a few good recommendations in there, Tia. Let me make sure I capture them correctly. One I hear is that you have some management practices that you were doing before COVID, like using management tools like your mind mapping or planning tools, I'm blanking on the word, that you're still using to kind of forecast the week ahead, what needs to be done, and it keeps you staying on top of the tasks and helps people find direction. And then I'm also hearing that before COVID, you were doing a once a week meeting at 8 a.m. on Monday, and now you've expanded that to daily meetings so that you can do more kind of regular check-in and see how people are feeling and how the work is going. So increasing the number of times that you meet with them in the week. And then the third thing I'm hearing is that you are trying to be flexible, recognizing that people are working from home and they might have to be taking care of their children. And so trying to be flexible in terms of what their work hours might be and when you meet with them so you can accommodate those needs. Did I get that?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Those are great. Thank you. Other recommendations, other thoughts? Okay, Dulce?
Yes, I think for me it's more of sharing an experience, at least for those who are working with SMEs. I've worked with donors as well, but right now there's no funding, and I'm struggling with my own salary, so I do understand most of the things that are being said. But one of the things I did with my group, because we also won't survive for 6 months if this goes on, was that when we started hearing about COVID-19, I tried to apply with Walmart in South Africa to get some for donation for sewing machines, old sewing machines. So I managed to get 12.
Wow.
So what I did was to provide some of my women with these 12 sewing machines, and we had some other old ones. So I distribute about 25 sewing machines, and okay, from the 47, most of them had from previous years, but for those who didn't have, we provided with sewing machines. So what they are doing in their communities, they are making masks, these masks for the prevention. They've been making and selling for maybe $1 or $1.50 if in your currency. So I'm not so worried. I mean, our center is closed, so I'm not so worried so much about how they're going to survive, because I know that they kind of became independent producers. We are trying to use this time that everybody's home to actually do something and contribute to the communities. I'm not sewing anything, but they are. So through that, they're able to help their families, not much, but they are. But one thing that happened 2 days ago was that one government institution asked us if we can produce 1,500 masks.
Wonderful.
So that's very good. It's gonna be for a very, very low price, but that's very good. They will contribute to their communities, other communities outside Gaza, but at the same time, they can generate some income.
Yeah.
So I think this is something that, depending on what product or service you are providing, if we try to maybe combine with what's going on and see who's involved in what, because there are donors and there are companies that are looking for small initiatives, but whatever you try to provide has to be aligned with what's happening. Yes, so we do fabric, we're doing something with our fabric.
That's great. So I see a lot of, in what you're saying, Dulce, I'm hearing a lot of leadership, in the sense of kind of being strategic, looking for what the opportunities are out there, reaching out to potential funders that are giving in-kind contributions, and rethinking how you can use the material that you have to be, so to provide this immediate need for your women that they can actually get some income with. So there's some strategizing that happens as a leader in that, and then the execution of it. Are you able to rely on anyone else on your team to manage who gets the machines and all of that, or are you doing that as well?
Well, I do everything almost.
Yeah.
I'm the fundraiser, I'm the business manager, I am the leader, and I have everything. So this, I was quiet, but I'm like, okay, sister, we are together in this.
Yeah.
Because this is exactly what I'm going through.
Yeah.
But because it's something I created, I always feel that I have to give a bit more. Otherwise, the whole ship will sink. So sometimes I sacrifice my own paycheck. Sometimes I go without even a paycheck. And, you know, it's like that. For me, it's like that. But likely, I do some consultancies on the side. I try to be in touch with other organizations, whatever I can do outside to compensate for this, you know, for the fact that right now I won't be able to generate anything. I won't be able to get funding. I won't be able to do like a mass production. And I'm not actually producing anything. So I try to do consulting outside my line of work with other expertise that I have. And that's how I'm surviving.
Yeah, I think especially when you're in a smaller organization like that and you're the founder, it's difficult.
It's very difficult.
You kind of have to wear all the hats.
Yeah, but I do have some women that have been trained. They had many trainings outside Mozambique. They are leaders themselves. They may not speak English, but they know how to use computers. They know how to control the stock and be in control of what goes on in production. And because these masks is required to have certain quality, so they go to check the quality at least of what is being produced, especially when it's a mass production like the 1,500 masks that we have. So I don't really have to be, you know, everywhere. I try to be my half, but it's very, very hard and it's very difficult. So to lead in times like this, I mean, we did not expect, and there's so much uncertainty. So I do understand where this case study is coming from. I can relate to that.
Well, I'm glad to hear that it sounds like you are finding opportunities to delegate what you can, like the quality control and the stock and things like that, that you can delegate to others so that you can focus on the strategies and executing some of the bigger parts of the project. Good.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Dulce.
And the other thing, sorry, Jen, the other thing
okay.
is to look out for, like, I think United Nations for Women, UNICEF, many government and private companies are really, really looking for small initiatives to be able to reach as many people as they can, at least in Mozambique. So I'm sure in other countries, maybe if I'm digging that and I'm involved with that, that's why I'm able to know, okay, that one is giving that. But what if I apply? I'm doing this for myself and my ladies. So I think my fellow colleagues could maybe try to see what's going on in the country, who's supporting who and what they can do, what kind of services, and try to align everything with COVID-19, because everybody's just looking for quick response. And I think we as civil society should also give our support.
It reminds me of when we talk about fundraising in GWIM and reminding ourselves, sometimes it feels difficult to ask for donations and you feel like you're begging, but remember the win-win, right? You have an asset, you are able to provide something to these larger companies and organizations that they need, and that's the reach that you have. The women are in the areas that they want to be getting to, get the money to, so you have a resource for them as much as they have a resource for you. And so finding those partnerships and figuring out who wants to be getting out there, I think is great. And hopefully some of them are making it a little bit easier to access that money, because sometimes like the UN can have this really difficult, complex application process, but if they really they understand the need to get the money out fast, they may be able to find ways to do that. So good.
Yes. And
Thank
if you are a small organization, these big organizations, they work with other organizations, so you can go through them. That's how I go. I wouldn't go to the top ones. They are very complicated.
Go to the partners.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Does anyone else have any thoughts? How are you managing the leadership, the management, balancing it all, delegating?
Hi, Jen. Oh, yeah.
Hi, Ardiana, and then I'll do Nin.
Yeah, I want to share maybe a little bit different with your organization, Dulce. In my organization, maybe we based on the commitment of our employees, especially the field facilitator. So during the COVID, we use the field facilitator to monitoring at village. We have almost 17 districts of beneficiaries, and in each district there is field facilitator. So we don't need spend more money to monitoring. We can use the field facilitator.
Oh, great. So if I understand, you're using the people that are already out in the field, your field facilitator, to do monitoring of the situation. You're able to kind of delegate that work to them rather than spending resources on an external person.
Yeah.
What types of things are they monitoring or keeping track of, Ardiana?
Our program is about pro-poor program. So we give us stimulant to the poor people to start their business. Not just women, but mostly the poor people.
So you give like seed money or stimulus money to start businesses.
Yeah.
Are you able during COVID, are you finding, I mean, it sounds like it might be a
We
difficult
divide
time.
the money, almost 20%, 70% for economic activity, 30% for food.
Okay, so you're keeping 70% at economic programs, and then you're using 30% for food security. Great. Yeah, I imagine it might be a hard time to start a business, but are they using the money to maintain their businesses, or is it
So
only
they can survive in this pandemic? They not just depend on the government grant, but also they can run their business,
run their existing business,
even
Great.
it's small business.
So businesses are still open in these communities, Ardiana?
Yeah, but not to run fast, but they start the business. At least they can buy the food, rice, eggs, like that.
Okay, and sell those things.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ardiana. Nin, did you have something?
Hello.
Hello.
I just want to share that I read on a case for feeling alone at Sue's study case. They said that the leader can feel like alone, right?
Yeah.
In Laoway, our revenue is to sell the product we produce, and also we run programs from funding agency. And now it's all suspend. We need to also for the selling, it's declining very fast, and we just moved to bigger workshops and pay for 10 years rent. Plus we built another extended room for our production. So actually our saving is very low, but we still can maintain until June. We have 20% in one team with 6% in management team. And actually I moved to another city. So it's about a year ago we do like this. I mean, a consolidate and coordination by online meeting. And we start to send people home like in the early of April. And then after that, the order of mask coming in. We actually cannot, we actually will say that we don't produce that anymore. But we think that we don't have any money now. And with this Indonesian economy, we cannot sure that we can have a good selling even until end of the year. So actually in the meantime of work from home, I asked my management team to learn to join the online class or to build Laoway system better because we have a lot of time. But lot of them say that, oh, can we just rest on this work from home? So I just speechless. I want to build this team better, but some of them refuse that. So I shrink and build another team for a strategic team. So now we start to build a better system for Laoway, especially for online marketing.
Ardiana, can I just interrupt just to summarize what you've said so far? I just want to make sure that people are capturing it. So from what I understood, you unfortunately just before COVID, you spent a lot of money buying new factory space and extending what you're expanding your services, and then so your savings is low, and you have enough money to keep people employed until June. And you're trying to use this time to build the capacity of your staff while they're working home and improve systems by asking them to take some online courses and increase their own capacity. But they're also pushing back and saying we want to rest and don't want to do all that, which is an interesting challenge. So I guess a thought about whether they get paid to rest or not. But we can talk about that. And then, so you've also pulled together a strategic planning team. Are those of your current staff? They
Yeah,
already
it's a part of the management team.
Part of the management team.
Yeah, so half of this management team become my small team.
Great. So half of the management team are now part of what you're calling like your strategic crisis management team, helping you strategize, which is important. So you're not feeling alone, like you said at the beginning, that, you know, you can feel like you're doing it all, just like the case. And so this allows you to have that kind of support of other leaders on the team helping you strategize and thinking things through.
Yeah.
Is that good so far? Did I catch it so far?
Yeah.
Okay.
Question. I have a question, Nin. You said you were getting requests to make masks, but you didn't want to respond to that for some reason. Why was that?
No, I mean, we try to close our production on early April because we are asked to stay at home. But when the mass order coming in, we try to that's two opinion from our management team. One say that you need to stop and don't receive that order, but half of them say that we need to earn some money, and especially our artisans need money. So we manage what we call limited operation. So now we are doing that.
So you're doing limited production to meet the demand for masks. I would imagine if you can set up a safe environment for people to work in, you're primed for that, right? Because that's what you all do. You work with fabrics, so it would be a great opportunity. And, you know, I could see why people would want to keep working if you have a market to sell them in.
And actually, what I can see now is how efficient my production team will be if we do like this in the future. I mean, with the clustering system, with the efficiency time of production, we can shrink the team actually. And but you know, we cannot fire people just like you can go.
Yeah.
How are you?
What was that?
Hello?
Hi, who is that?
Hi, this is Rita Edet.
Hi, Rita. Did you have something to add?
Yes, it's just what our colleague have just said. It's the same thing everywhere. This lockdown has really affected our business in Nigeria. Like our NGO, we are into palms, like I did said. And the palms, at rainy season, we store it. At dry season, we store it. Rainy season, we produce and take it to the open market. But right now, the COVID-19 has really affected the production and day-to-day business, which has made the women to remain at home without going out, without doing anything. They cannot even fend for their family. At the end of this lockdown, when they now resume, they will not have the money to even send the children to school. So it has been very serious over here. The crisis is very serious. We don't know how to go about it. Even the staff, we are thinking of laying most of the staff off.
Yeah, can you clarify? So in part, you're unable to do production because of government requirements that people don't work, that they don't gather, or is it because there isn't a demand for the product?
Hello?
Hello?
Your question again?
could you just clarify, is your struggle with the business, is it that the government is not allowing you to be open and to produce, or
Yes.
is it that there isn't a demand for the product?
Yes, it's total lockdown.
Uh-huh.
Total lockdown in my location, my community. Nothing is happening. Everybody is staying at home. Feeding is a problem.
Yeah.
The community, they come to meet me as a leader, and I cannot, I cannot let them down. I have to look for what to do for them. I have to show them I'm their leader. I can lead. So in this situation, this COVID-19 is really affecting business, our business. We're into pumps, like I earlier said. Even when during the UN 55, I did presentation on pumps. We are into pumps. The women are into pumps. They cannot no longer going out because of the lockdown. They have been at home. They are not doing anything. No money is coming in, no income.
Yeah. Wow, that's a big leadership challenge, right? You've got people who they can't afford to not work at all, and yet because of the government restrictions, you're quite limited even to find new ways of doing your business because everybody's on lockdown. I think we've heard that on previous calls as well, that people are facing that. They want to get out and reach the communities, but they need permits and they need permissions to do that. Yeah, any thoughts on that at all? It's a challenge that I know many of you are facing, and I think everyone's looking for a way to work around it. Oh, go ahead, Flo.
I guess for Kathy and I, it's not really, the organization. So there's just the two of us, and for us, it's really important that we manage the office, and as per our previous experiences when we had the tribal fights, and then when we had the earthquake. And we realized that in spite of the government putting out contact points, people out in the rural communities out, and you know how Papua New Guinea is with where our alumni are located. Many of them are, they can work. I mean, Julia Lo, as an example, she would work 2 days to get a mobile phone coverage and make contact with us. She would be one of those. She's one case that would that makes us as the secretariat of their organization not close, not shut down and go home, just because the government has also given us the 14 days lockdown, and then another case appears, and then back into another 14 days lockdown. So it's been, for us, it's an uncertain of, we do have a state of emergency, and we have restrictions going on, but we also have the lockdowns. It is, and it's really making sure that we are the point of contact for our alumni who are out in remote PNG. And so we have had to work and manage the office. Our challenge, though, is looking for alternative avenues and ways that we can help our alumni to really sustain themselves. And our government's really gone back and telling us, go back to agriculture, because we really, our background and backbone of Papua New Guinea really is agriculture for everyday Papua New Guinean. So for us, it's managing ourselves and abiding by what the government is telling us and the expectations, from our alumni. That is our challenge.